We're here with Lucy. It is her second day training here in the Kula Lunge on the long-reins. So it's a little bit wet on the arena this morning, so we had actually planned a long rein in the Kula Lunge to ride, but as you can see we have a giant puddle, so we can only use about half of the arena. So what I've planned for today is working on improving the canter. So I have cut this video down to 12 minutes because we did work Lucy for another half an hour because we are long reining instead of riding rather than just long reining. So we keep this session quite varied. We're doing some walk to trot, trot to walk transitions. Now we're doing that to get her thinking forward and getting her active from behind before we make the canter transition. So the transitions will get her more alert, more attentive, so then it's easier for her to kick over into the canter. And then we're looking at developing that canter on the circle to improve the balance and strength, because Lucy hasn't done a lot of cantering under saddle, so it's easier for us to get her cantering on the long reins in the Kula Lunge first without the influence of a rider on her back. And then of course frequent changes of direction. Just running around in circles is quite boring, so we want to keep changing direction to keep her interested and attentive in her work. And you'll see that Lucy's already looking more balanced on the long reins because she's picking up where we left off from the previous training session. So she is still falling on that right shoulder a little bit, so I'm doing consistent steadies with my outside rein and then it'll vibrate with my inside rein. So you'll see that she's actually leading with that right shoulder and almost flexed to the outside. However, if I just asked her with my inside rein to bend to the inside, then all that would happen is that the circle would get smaller, but she would not stop leading from that inside shoulder. So in order, I literally want to get her into my outside rein. So that's consistent steady with the outside rein and vibrate with the inside rein. And you'll see there that she starts to soften and come a little rounder and straighter. And so you get a smoother trot with more lift. Now this is something that does occur under saddle with Lucy, and she does actually like to block us to the right as well. Now what I mean by that is she will literally position herself so that we're not on her right side. It's a thing that she's had since she was bought. I'm not sure why. We don't know a lot about her previous history. She has had some training prior to Linda buying her, but we're just not entirely sure what was done with her.
It's the sign of madness.
So now that I've adjusted the Kula Lunge, we're going to do a little bit of work in the canter. So I am allowing her to trot on to get the canter, and no, she does not like the puddle. However, she's just going to have to get used to it. And you will notice that she's also taking me further down the arena towards the gate. So that is something that we need to work on as well. But at this stage of training, my priority is getting her to go forward. So that means I am going to go with her to allow her to go forward. So if I was to stay in the center at the moment, I would just block the forward movement and she would stop.
And don't get me wrong,
So this is part of the training process that needs to be developed. So I'm just going to keep urging her forward through the puddle. It's only a puddle, she will survive, whether she likes it or not. And now I'm going to try taking her back the other way to see if I can get the canter a little bit more on this side, because she does want to be on that right shoulder. So sometimes changing direction is an easy way to develop
skeletal system's the best.
the paces, and then I can just go back to the harder side. Well, what is turning out to be the harder side today.
Yeah, she's had issues.
That was a good transition.
Some condition.
You'll see that she is not perfectly straight on that circle, but she is starting to develop a connection. So it is a clear 3-beat canter, but she could definitely be rounder. But again, that's something that's going to have to develop. But she is actually maintaining the canter, which is good. That's a big improvement on our previous training session. Okay, now we're back on the other side and giving it a go. She is not as balanced on this side, definitely, because she is wanting to lead with that inside shoulder. So the more you can develop the canter on the long reins in the Kula Lunge, the easier it will make it to ride under saddle. And we want to develop the sides evenly, which is why we're doing frequent changes of direction. That's a much better trot. Good connection. So the more you can develop the paces, the rhythm, the looseness, contact, impulsion, straightness, and eventually collection in the previous paces, it does carry through into the next pace. Now, I do a lot more walk than what's shown in this video because she does also need breaks. So it's not a continuous trot and canter for 20 minutes. There's a lot of walk, which is boring to leave on the video, which is why it's edited out. And you can see that she's got a little bit more bend and connection in this canter now. And it is nice and forward, but she is starting to come up through the back and the thoracic sling. And that was a good transition. She is still leading a little with that inside shoulder, but she is developing some straightness and some looseness and swing through the body, which you can see in this trot. So I've just finished off this training session with some trot to walk and walk to trot transitions after we do one more canter. Now this canter's actually got some bend to the right finally, so she's actually off her inside right shoulder, which is the shoulder she wants to lead with, and she's actually bending and maintaining the size of the circle, which is a huge accomplishment. So we are going to actually finish on that, and then I'm actually going to do a little warm down in hand, which I videoed separately to post. So if you found this helpful, please subscribe to our channel Kula Lunge for more training videos.